not going to lie to you, I didn't have the best night's sleep last night, but today is a new day. I've got to get a ferry over to the Isle of Harris and the photography can really begin. This video is sponsored by Squarespace. If you need a website, go to squarespace.com/Heaton.
In the unlikely event of an emergency, you will be informed by means of an emergency signal consisting of 7 or more short blasts, followed by one prolonged blast on the ship's whistle, alarm bell, or public address system. Your attention is drawn to the passenger emergency instruction notices, which are displayed at the muster stations and in other locations around the vessel. The vessel is fitted with lifeboats, life rafts.
I got a really nice email today off a gentleman who obviously has a name that I can't pronounce. I believe it's called Michiel van Hout. And his email was basically talking about inspiration and how you don't necessarily need the best kit, you don't need the best skills, but what you do need is inspiration. And I've always been saying this, I'm a big champion of inspiration, okay? Anybody can learn how to use a camera. You know what? A camera can just do its own thing. Whack it on automatic, bosh, okay? You don't necessarily need to learn the skills to get the images, but what you do need is the inspiration to get up, get out, and come to places like this. If you ever needed inspiration for your photography, look no further than the Isle of Harris. I mean, look at this. Absolutely stunning.
In this world I'll be right by your side with arms. Even if you don't walk, you wrote your name in my heart.
Right, we might be onto something here. We've got these fantastic rocks that just offer so much contrast with the white sand. The trick is you really need to look at it and figure out where your composition, how your composition is going to be, because you don't want to walk on the sand and then realize that you've just walked in the foreground of your image that you're about to take. It's the same with snow. Absolute disaster. It's actually quite terrifying walking on this pristine white sand because you're forever convinced that you've just walked through your next image. So I'm going to have a look at these rocks, see if I can find a composition, and I'm going to be very slow, very deliberate, very careful. Okay, I think I've got it. No sand was harmed in the making of this video. Okay. So I'm just being really careful to make sure that I only step on the rocks. Not just for me, but you know, another photographer might come along in 10 minutes or 20 minutes, and I would hate to have ruined this pristine scene. So a little note to say, it's always nice to be courteous when you're out taking your photographs. Composition.
We like what we saw. Seems so strong until it falls. The final.
So the light's just starting to come now. So I'm going to try and get this composition. It's just fantastic contrast, amazing shadow detail, shapes in the sand. No filters. I don't think the filter's going to add anything here. So the composition is just fantastic. The sun's out now, it gives us great contrast, fantastic shadow. The wind has blown the sand into this lovely S-curve leading line from the rocks. We've got fantastic interest in the sky. All in all, this is a fantastic image. 2-second time at f11, 60th of a second, no filters. I genuinely don't think there is any filter here that is going to add to the image, so I'm just not bothered. Why waste my time? f11, 100th of a second. Lovely. Just fantastic, absolutely stunning. A great image, a lovely location, and a great start to my trip to the Isle of Harris.
When I was trapped, you showed an open door. I had no reason to complain. I didn't have the words to explain.
We have an hour and a half until sunset, and as it stands, if it stays like this, we are going to get an absolutely killer sunset. But we're in the Outer Hebrides, so the weather doesn't stay consistent for an hour and a half, so things might change. But I'm going to remain optimistic for an absolute belter of a sunset. So I'm now heading to some white dunes to try and find a composition for this sunset. It's not going to be easy. It's kind of finding order amongst the chaos. That's the challenge. And then if you find the correct composition and nature gives you a killer sunset, we should be on for a winning image. Time will tell with this one. Time will tell. Come on. This is what I'm dealing with. Nightmare. It's absolutely stunning, but it's going to be so difficult to find a composition amongst all of this. But what I can say is there is not another soul around. I have got this entire place to myself. Miles upon miles of pristine white sands, blue sea, sunshine. Oh, I'm basically in heaven, and I have no problems waiting for that sunset. I'm just going to relax here, have a rest, and then take on the challenge of finding a composition. But first I think I'll have a nap. So I found a lovely, lovely, lovely composition amongst all of these dunes, which are very chaotic. Now this is a bit of a beast of an exposure. I've got 2 filters on, and I'm bracketing, which is mental. It's just crazy, but it seems to be working. Now I will explain. The reason I've got 2 filters on and bracketing is because, wait for it, we've got an incredibly dark sky. So remember how before I was saying how if the sky stays like this, we're going to get a killer sunset. Well, yeah, as expected, the clouds have rolled in, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. We've got incredibly dark skies above our heads, so the majority of the sky is dark, foreboding cloud, but we've got this break just on the horizon here. And this break is so bright, it's like the dynamic range is just incredible. So I've got a hard edge filter 2-stop and a medium edge 3-stop, just to try and control the incredibly bright highlights in the middle of the sky. And then I'm bracketing just as a precaution, so I've got the exposures. I mean, I don't normally bracket, but why not? You know, if you can, then there's no reason why you shouldn't. With regards to foreground interest, we've got a lovely lovely sweeping curve. It almost looks like a shell, like a spiral, as the sand spirals up and over towards the setting sun, although we've still got a good half an hour left until sunset. I don't know. I mean, this is gorgeous, but the more I sit here, the more I become less enchanted with this specific location. I think that these dunes, they're just too busy. And I think one of the main reasons I came to Harris, and this stretch of coastline in particular, was to find those lovely, clean, simple images. White sand, blue sea, and maybe some stormy skies with a long exposure. You know, real abstract images. Yeah, I think that's what I'll look for over the next few days. I'm sticking with this composition for now, even though I'm incredibly tired and my head is banging. I've got a terrible headache. I think it's because I'm not drinking enough. And I've got a hell of a long walk back to the car. The things we do for photography. I don't know. I think I'd enjoy this more if I wasn't feeling so tired from my lack of sleep last night. But still, a bad day in this location is better than most people's good days. So I shan't complain. Amazing. This is what it's all about. Just sitting, waiting, and really enjoying the landscape. I want to thank Squarespace for sponsoring this channel. If you don't know who Squarespace are, you should, but if you don't, then they're an all-in-one platform where you go and you build your website using their award-winning templates. They've got 24/7 customer service, and all in all, they're pretty decent. So if you want to use Squarespace, go to squarespace.com/Heaton to start your free trial. And if you like your free trial and you want to spend some money, use the offer code Heaton for 10% off your first purchase. Right, I've got a long walk ahead of me, so it's time for me to say goodbye. Bye for now. We've got bright white sand, and hopefully I have enough time to talk shit, which is what I'm doing. All right.